Hi, welcome to Buzz and Bark. My name is Patricia, and so today I'm going to do a Fibonacci planetary forks, got singing bowl, flute, and then some Reiki and some crystals. And the intention is to send some healing to the planet and also an apology to the planet, because as a human, even though I do my best to be sustainable, I still participate in what is harmed the planet and is harming us. You know, it's harming a lot of the different life forms on the planet. And there's been a lot of fires, there's been a lot of, imbalance of the weather and, the earth and all these other things, which make it hard for, the different creatures, including our pets and ourselves. And so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on, again, sending an apology to the earth, and you can join me with that. Now, I know a lot of humans are going to be more on the arrogant side and think that they didn't have anything to do with the state of the world, and it's always like, the government or corporations or something. But it's true that the government and the corporations can cause bigger damage, but we can all cause damage. And so yeah, so that's what it's for today. And I'm going to start out with the Ho'oponopono prayer. And then I'm going to do the St. Francis prayer. I'm going to do the metta prayer. I'm going to kind of spread them out throughout the session. And remember to like, share, and comment. I'm not going to be doing a teaching or talking much. I just want to do these sounds and these different crystals. I'll probably talk a little bit about the flute or the crystals or whatever, but I'm not gonna do I'm not gonna talk about like the state of the world and all the rest of that. So I think what I'm gonna do is to kind of just soften the energy. I'm gonna start out with the flute, and then I'm just gonna follow my intuition on which of the forks to use. I'm not gonna use all of them because I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 11 planetary forks and there's 8 Fibonacci forks. So there's just no way I'm going to be sitting here for that long doing that. But I'm going to pause for a second and I'll be right back. It's a Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Ho'oponopono. Ho'opono, ho'oponopono. 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 And you can say that prayer throughout the day. It's fairly easy. You don't even have to do the lines in the same order that I do. There's so many different variations, but the lines are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. But you can also start out with, I love you, Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I mean, you could do it whatever combination you want, but do it to the planet and all the creatures and anyone that you might have affected. And, you know, also clear your karma in the meantime. Dear Lord, please make me an instrument of your peace. Where there's hatred, sow love. Where there's injury, sow pardon. Where there's despair, sow hope. Where there's darkness, sow light. And where there's sadness, sow joy. O Divine Master, grant not so much I be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love, to be consoled as to console. For it is in giving that we receive, it is pardoning that we're pardoned, it is dying that we're born into eternal life. Amen. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings be loved and connected. And may all beings be free from suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We'll do some light language. Ona de kyoto hiat kutuma. Irekataki. Ara tato hiamada. Rokatakipa. Shikatukupa. The sun is for vitality and health. Also courage and strength. This is the Mookite jasper. This one is from Australia. It's from the outback. It's connected to the Aborigine people. Oops, sorry about that. I had to get that ant off my computer. I mean, bless the ant and everything. I just didn't want it crawling in my computer. Rose quartz. It's another one for the heart, courage, strength, healing energy. Just absorb that beautiful, soft. Finally, for clean air for the lungs, here's some Peruvian turquoise. You can also use regular turquoise. I just happen to like this one a little bit better. Doing Venus for strength, for health, for the planet. Mercury for clean air. Also, Venus is about balance, so balancing the ecosystem. Bringing in Uranus to break up all that destructive energy that's on the planet. And also to bring an awakening to humanity. Because Uranus is the awakener. And also we want to calm down all those lightning strikes that have been causing fires. Because the ground is tinder, it's very dry, especially in the western part of the US and of course places all over the world. And so kind of want to calm that down. And so we're going to bring in some Saturn. Bring some stabilization. Building a new structure. Also bring in some restrictions to limit a lot of the polluting that's happening. Responsibility, accountability, these are all Saturn. And wisdom. When enough of us join together, doesn't matter what your spirituality or your religion is. When enough of us join together, we can make a big difference. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your animals. And if you can't do it for them, do it for your children. And if you can't do it for them, then just do it for the earth. And hopefully you can do it for everyone. Hopefully you can love yourself enough and care enough that you can join with others and make a difference. And you don't have to do anything grand. You do something small every day. It can make a difference. Simple as what you eat, how often you drive. You know, if you can, ride a bike. Use less electricity. You know, whatever you can do. I just had another thought. If you're still watching the news and if you're still clicking on to like really negative content, you know, that is clickbait and it's just meant to scare you, then replace it with something else. Even if it takes a while to break the habit, because it is a habit. And, you know, watch animal videos, watch nature shows, go garden, you know, just do something else besides feeding the machine. Because if you're tuning in to the darker things, you're giving it gas, you're giving it fuel. And the more of us who are putting our thoughts, because we're powerful, right? As individuals, we're powerful, but imagine like millions of people. And if millions of people unplugged, if millions of people said, I don't want that earth, I want a different earth, I want to live differently, I want to be peaceful, happy, healthy, you know, and you want others to have that too, then focus on that, visualize that. Like when you start going into that and I do this a lot, when you start worrying or you start going down the doomsday route, stop yourself, catch yourself, and then do whatever you need to do to get yourself back into a hopeful place. Because despair and, anger, all of these things, I'm not saying don't feel what you're feeling. Feel what you're feeling, let it go, and then replace it. So, let it flow through you like a sensation in your body. Let it flow through you. Don't get it stuck in your body, but let it flow. But don't use it to cause harm. And then when you're done with that, then find something else, whether it's, again, watching an animal video, singing a favorite song, dancing to some music, or going for a walk, watching the sunrise, the sunset. Do something that's going to get you out of that really heavy place. Because the more of us that can lighten ourselves up, the better off the planet's going to be. Because all of that energy, all of the anger, the hostility, the hatred, all of that turns into weather patterns. And you can hear all the different theories of what's causing the weather, and yeah, it's probably everything that they say, but we play a role too. There's that saying about the butterfly in Japan flapping its wings and then something happening somewhere else on the planet. Well, that butterfly is our thoughts, and the butterflies represent the air element, and the air element is the mental. It's our mental energy. So the mental energy is extremely strong. And, it's, we don't want to stay there. So, you can feel what you're feeling. Don't not feel it, but find a way to work your way through it, or find a way to flow through it, to go to the other side of it. Even if that means, getting coaching or counseling or energy work. Because I could be like in a really bad funk, and I'll go and get acupuncture, or I'll do Reiki or something like that, and it will snap me out of it. And I have been somebody that has, for most of my life, had depression and anxiety. So if I can do it, so can you. And we can make up excuses of like why we can't change, and why we can't do this, and why we can't do that. But why do you want to waste your energy making up excuses? That takes a lot of creative power to make up excuses. Well, what if you use that creative power for something that's more constructive, that's actually going to resonate out in the world in a good way? And then there's something I want to end with before I do a little bit of Reiki, and that is, I was listening to the monk from the Walk for Peace. It's the Venerable Monk Panyakara, and he was talking about merit. And merit doesn't just have to be a Buddhist thing. It could be, you could call it karma, you could call it, good fortune, whatever you want to call it. So when you do things that are going to give you good merit, like, you're generous, or you help in some way, or you do something kind for yourself or whatever, you don't do it because you're getting merit. Like, you don't say, I'm doing this so that I can get merit. You do it out of your heart, and then you get the merit, right? So he was talking about a bucket, and he said every good deed is like a drop of water that goes in the bucket, right? And you're trying to fill this bucket up. But if you burst out in anger, or you hurt somebody, or you lie, or you do something that goes against the merit, then what happens is you've just dumped all of that water out on the ground, and you got to start over again. So that I don't know if it's a metaphor or whatever it is, that actually, when I think of that story, it actually makes me think really hard. Like, so if you can pause between things, like if you're starting to feel certain emotions, or you're starting to go in a direction which is either going to be harmful to you or someone else, then the practice is to pause and to think of stories like that, and then to ask yourself, what are you contributing to the planet? Because we always think of ourselves as so small and we don't make a difference. We all make a difference. So every little thing you do is rippling out, right? It's resonating. And there could be others that are also on a lower level or a higher level. And if you're resonating at a lower level, then you get these clusters of, you can look on Facebook on some of the groups and things, where you get this just clusters of just this really super heavy energy. And, people are being very sarcastic, they're snide, they're cutting people down, they're making, they're just doing this whole drama thing. And that is like so dangerous. Those are like bombs, basically. Those are energetic bombs. Those are emotional bombs that are just being released all over the planet. And that's what we need to release. That's what we need to heal. And as we heal that, I said I wasn't going to lecture, sorry. But as we heal that and we heal the wounded parts of ourselves, then we're putting in this field of energy on the planet, which all this weather, all these things that are happening, all these things happening around, when it's war, whatever it's going on, those things can change really quick if we change. So if enough people on the planet decide that they don't want to live like this anymore, and they decide that they're going to do whatever they need to do to cultivate peace, and you get enough numbers to do that, that can change things. And it can change things quickly. And even though it took a long time for things to get to where they are now, if we evolve and if we awaken, and awakening doesn't necessarily mean spiritual, it can be, but it can also be awakening of deciding not to live your life in a certain way anymore and changing your lifestyle. Or it could be, somebody quitting their job because they feel like they're contributing to, the destruction. Or it could be so many different things where people just drop out of society and decide to live a different way. It doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual. So when you hear about awakening, it's usually spiritual, right? And all these different channels and stuff. But that's because you're watching a spiritual channel. If you were watching a channel that wasn't spiritual and they were talking about awakening, it would be more like awakening of people's consciousness in the sense of their everyday life. Like the type of work they do, the way they raise their kids, their lifestyle choices, what they eat, all of those things. That's an awakening as well. So I'm going to do a little bit of Reiki, and then I'm just going to conclude this session. I didn't really have a plan, so hopefully it doesn't seem really erratic. But my intention is to bring us peace and to bring us healing and to bring us all back into balance. Because if each of us come into balance and our animals come into balance, then that resonates out. It inspires others to come into balance, and eventually it catches on like a contagion, but like a really good one. So here we go. Here's some Reiki with crystals. I'm going to start with the rose quartz. Remember to breathe. I'm closing the session now. May the Reiki continue to flow where it's needed for highest and best. Okay, I'm going to do the last of the Fibonacci's. That's 3421 and 1-1. I'm going to close with this. So have a wonderful week with you and your pet bonding. Remember to subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell people about buzz and bark animals.